Hello everyone and welcome to Leonora AstroTarot. Thank you so much for joining me today for this video. We're talking all about Venus's transit into Scorpio. So this is happening on September 10th. I'm going to be speaking a little bit about Venus in Scorpio and about Venus in general. So if you're not here for the astrology chat, you can skip forward to the reading. The timestamps will be down below. But if you want to hear more about this transit, then do stick around. So yeah, it's happening on September 10th. And Venus will be hanging out in Scorpio till October 7th. For those of you that don't know, I will talk a little bit about Venus. Venus represents our love nature, basically, how we love. It's where we look to in the chart. The sign, the house, and also the aspects made that tells us a little bit about how you approach relationships, the kind of things you're attracted to, the kind of things you value, but just generally your love style. You can tell a little bit about your love language, we'll say, based on the sign. And of course, this is also affected because let's say there's someone you're interested in, and I know people might say, oh, they're a Gemini, I'm a Pisces, that's never going to work. But I would say when it comes to relationship compatibility, I would not worry too much about the sun signs. Synastry, which is sort of your astrological compatibility with someone else based on their placements, your placements, the angles they make to each other, is incredibly detailed, intricate, comprehensive. There are so many ways that charts can connect with one another. Just thinking about the sun signs, nah, forget it. It really isn't. The sun sign is very much overemphasized. And of course, you can have very apparently, well, let's say that, like, take that example, Gemini and Pisces, because these signs square. So the square is a harsh kind of angle. However, depending on the exact degree of the sign that your sun is at, they won't necessarily square. They have to have the square tense aspect. It has to be within a certain amount of degrees. Otherwise, you're not necessarily going to feel that. You might think you're a bit different, but hey, difference and some degree of tension, right? When we look at the synastry charts and we look at the angles of the aspects between two charts, having nice flowing trines and conjunctions, the conjunction is sort of where two planets are in the same place. These are all great things, but also having a few squares in there, it isn't a bad thing. It creates tension, so that creates chemistry, and it also creates this possibility for change. What you really want with someone is a balance between harmonious and perhaps some more challenging aspects. I think without those challenging aspects, we might feel a little bit bored. We might feel like there's no tension in the relationship. Often we see a lot of oppositions in synastry. Oppositions via transit in the chart can be quite tense, quite challenging. However, in synastry, the opposition, if somebody has a planet opposite your ascendant, for instance, it's in your 7th house, which the house of relationships, which means that person is really ticking a box for you in terms of what you're looking for in a partner. Anyway, so Venus is all about love and harmony. Venus natally rules Libra and Taurus. So if you have your Venus in one of those signs, this is thought of as an amazing placement. It's in its domicile, it's at home, it can function very well. But today we're talking about Venus in Scorpio. So yeah, as I said, September 10th, it will be around a month transit. Venus will shift out of its home sign Libra, where it's very, very, enjoys being. Libra is very known for being very kind of refined, very diplomatic, very good at partnership. Now, Scorpio is a different kind of energy. Venus, of course, can excel in any Venus sign. There are these designations, typical designations in astrology, if we want to look into it, like that suggest that a sign is exalted or in its fall or in its detriment in a particular place. I think whatever you have going on in your chart, you can make that work for you. You can be a loving, open person that has healthy relationships, right? And also the aspects make a huge amount of difference. if you've never explored your own personal Venus, like your individual Venus and the aspects made to that planet, the house, you can see in the description box below, if you would like to explore your chart with me, you can see the readings that I offer. You can reach me at leonora.astrotarot@gmail.com to have a look about the kind of challenges and gifts that you have in this area, right? If your natal Venus is in Scorpio, and to be clear, it doesn't matter what sign you are for this reading. It's a general read, it's a collective read for everyone. But if your natal Venus is in Scorpio, it's a very deep energy. You're very concentrated in love. Venus in Scorpio tends to, it's definitely that sign that will sort of, not necessarily flirt in the typical way, but might sort of fix their focus on someone slowly and in a quite concentrated way. So it's sort of, Scorpio can be quite all or nothing. So you're maybe quite all in if you have a Venus in Scorpio. It doesn't mean that you can't take a more light-hearted approach at times and have more casual encounters, but it's not really one of the Venus signs that we associated with that. In fact, I think it's probably one of the signs that we least associate with that, because Scorpio does tend to be so intense. It's what Scorpio is known for, is being this very deep diver, this very magnetic, psychologically insightful sign. So Scorpio wants a lot from their relationships. Of course, you don't have to be a Scorpio sun to have your Venus in Scorpio. Venus stays close to the sun, so it may be that your Venus sign is in the same sign as your sun sign. However, it can be up to 2 signs next to or beside. So if you have a Venus in Scorpio, you may also be a Sagittarius or a Capricorn, or you may be a Libra or a Virgo. But that's it. You cannot be in any other sign, because Venus doesn't stray that far away from the sun at any given time. I mean, as we speak, so with this, babies born in this, Virgo season will have a Venus in Scorpio, for instance, and will shift into Libra at the end of this month, at the end of September, obviously, mid-end of the month. Yes, but back to Venus in Scorpio. It's a very, like I said, a very concentrated placement. It does tend to be this all or nothing. You fix your eye on someone across the room and then it's them or nothing. Scorpio is known for brooding, for being quite Plutonic. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, a very transformative planet in a very, very deep way. Scorpios feel deeply. There's a lot of this is the thing. Perhaps a Venus in Scorpio is capable of a more casual encounter, but in general, they want to really have a deep union with somebody else. They want to feel very deeply. They want to get into somebody's soul and feel like there is a sort of possessive aspect, to feel like that person is theirs. But they're able to give everything of themselves, Venus and Scorpio, and I think that's what most people with this placement want, to give everything of themselves to someone else and have that in return. Scorpios are known for their magnetism, so of course they can, with a potential love interest, just sort of lock in their eyes in and just sort of have them in their net, right? If you've ever had a Venus in Scorpio set their sights on you, I've been there a few times. And Venus in Scorpio tends to be attracted to perhaps the other water signs, certainly people with strong Taurus energies, because Taurus is Scorpio's sort of opposing sign. So Taurus is, represents Scorpio's 7th house, so there's a strong magnetism between these two signs. If you have a lot of Taurus in your chart, you probably have some experience with this. If you've had that kind of all or nothing gaze on you from a Venus in Scorpio, that's a difficult thing to forget, I think. But for some people, that might be a little too much. Some people don't want that sort of possess me, love me, or nothing, or that kind of dramatic. It is quite a dramatic sort of energy. It really depends, of course, on your love nature. Venus in Scorpio's love nature is quite just ardent and capable of devoting themselves to one person very strongly. Yeah. Is there anything I want to add about that? Well, no, I mean, like I said, this reading is for all signs, and during Venus in Scorpio season, let's say, this is the vibe that is around. So we might, even regardless of what our Venus sign is, even if we don't have a lot of Scorpio energy, these are the things that are circulating. Like, it's all about intensity and all about deeper connections, and it's all about sort of you or no one. So many of us may be experiencing energy like this up to October 7th, when Venus enters Sagittarius, a very, very different sign and a very different kind of love nature. It is interesting how, for instance, because Venus stays close to the sun, you can have Libras with, naturally diplomatic, sun signs that have this very intense love nature. You can have Sagittariuses who are very typically independent and free and much more easygoing than the typical Scorpio, having this very, very intense love nature. Venus is more typically, does stay. I think Venus is usually typically found in the neighboring sign at any given time. So let's say you meet, because I don't like to see people like ruling out people because of their sun sign for a love match. I touched on this a little bit. When we're looking at whether someone would be a good match for us, of course, like I said, synastry is very comprehensive, but the sun sign really isn't that relevant. A nice aspect to have in a relationship, in a romantic relationship, typically is sun conjunct the moon. So your moon sign matching their sun sign. But there's many different kinds of aspects. That's just one. But we certainly, the sun represents our ego. The moon represents our, more internal side and also our emotional side. So of course, when we meet people initially, they may be very into astrology, they may not, but it's not like we can sort of easily necessarily find out their moon sign. But the moon sign is much more relevant to us when we're looking at love compatibility. So never rule anyone out because of their sun sign. The moon sign is much more, we want to know the moon sign, we want to know the Venus sign, but also the Mars sign is significant when we're looking about compatibility, because the Mars sign is all about our passion, our sexuality, and we want to have nice blendings of Venus and Mars. And of course the moon, we want to connect with people on an emotional level in the romantic sphere. So just to put that out there, never just rule someone out because you don't like their sun sign. But I think I'll leave that there in terms of my little astro ramble, and let's get to today. So we're going to be doing just a general what's next in love, what to expect perhaps for this Venus in Scorpio season, lasting from September 10th to October 7th. What's next in love, of course, this is for all signs. So we have 4 groups. Group 1 is the Amazonite, Group 2 is the pink Tourmaline, Group 3 is the Pyrite, and Group 4 is the orange Calcite. So as ever, just go with whichever pile is drawing you in. Trust that initial response. Of course, you are free to pick more than one pile. If you're struggling to pick and your eyes darting around, I do recommend pausing and coming back later when you're maybe in a more sort of clear state of mind. But yeah, I will leave you to pick your pile, and I will see you in your reading. Hello, Pile 1, and welcome to your reading. You picked the Amazonite, and today we are asking what is next in love as we enter into this Venus in Scorpio season. Venus entering Scorpio on September 10th. So what can you expect for this month-long-ish transit in love? Of course, this is a general read, so please take only what feels like it's meant for you. Otherwise, just, leave it behind. It was meant for someone else. So we have stellium, we have death, we have south node and north node. Interesting. We have intuition. Don't take these ones in reverse. We have support. We have the High Priestess, the Seven of Swords. We have the Artist, the Artist, the Artist. Haven't seen that one before in this deck. This is the Ethereal Visions deck. All info about the decks is down below. We have the Six of Swords, and we have Sustain in reverse. Okay, I'm going to leave that as a reversal, I think. Am I reverse? No, let's leave that up here, but we'll consider it from any angle. Okay, so we're starting off with stellium, or stellium, depending on how you say it. Now, if you don't know, the stellium is when within the natal chart there are many planets. So let's say four or more planets or significant placements. Of course, the sun and moon are luminaries. The sun and moon are not planets; they are luminaries. I think we know that. Of course, we refer to them as planets in astrology, but there's also, Pluto officially is not a planet anymore, is it? But this is astrology. It isn't astronomy. It's true. It's not a science. It isn't. It's symbolic. But also things like, Chiron, for instance, very significant asteroid in astrology, but also the North and South Node, which are, not planets or asteroids at all. They're simply degree points on the ecliptic belt between the sun and the moon, right? So all of these things are very significant. So significant placements in one sign or house. So they're congregated. That's what a stellium is. It's a congregation in a particular place. There's what I'm getting with this stellium card is that there is a lot of energy around your love life, or a lot of focus around love in general for you right now, my Pearl Ones. Some of you, whatever is going on in your world, it may be that you feel quite consumed in love currently. Some of you may have been through a recent breakup, or just a very, very significant transition from one thing to another with the Death card here at the top of the read. Now, don't let this bother you. Of course, the Death card is associated with Scorpio. I don't necessarily buy into all the associations between tarot and astrology. I think of them as quite separate, and I don't really understand necessarily all of these designations, but the Death card is not for me a troubling card. It's a card that I welcome in a read because it suggests that necessary transformations will or are happening, and that's what I'm feeling here. It could look different for each of you, and perhaps this is already something that's already happening and will be playing out also throughout the next month, is that there is some kind of rebirth happening, but it does seem that your focus is very pulled toward your romantic, your life, your love life, whether that's a specific relationship, letting go of something, or something new coming in and entering a very, very new phase. It will look different for each of you. However, this is a very, very fated thing. With the South Node and North Node, I always like to call these placements on the ecliptic, right? They're thought of as very karmic. In Vedic astrology, they're known as Ketu and Rahu. They speak to our karma, basically, or the South Node in particular does. It's sort of, the South Node represents where we've been, our past lives, if you want to entertain that notion, our habitual patterns and behavior, right? But we want to grow in this lifetime, and the North Node represents that growth. It represents where we want to reach, our Dharma, let's say. So whatever you're going through right now, Pearl One, it is very, very karmic. It is an important stage of your development and your growth in this life. So yeah, make no mistake that this is a very, very important and a very significant transitional phase that you're in, however that looks for you. When the Death card shows up, it's always important that we do not resist change. Sometimes these changes, sometimes we're happy to see the Death card because it means we're rid of something. Sometimes we want to leave. Sometimes we want that change. But in general, it's just, the Death card represents things that have to change in order for you to grow. And right next to this South Node, North Node card, it's like, it's important for you to evolve and transform here. In order to basically pursue your soul's purpose, so that whether that's with or without someone, Perhaps there's someone in your life that has taught you a very, very important lesson that is leading to you aligning with your greater purpose. Perhaps someone is coming into your world that is going to help you align with your greater purpose, whatever it is. But yes, the Death card is kind of associated with Scorpio and Plutonic energy, which is bringing this real intensity to this. Whatever it isn't coming easy. Like if it's letting something go, it may be deeply painful. If it's bringing in new energy, there's something about that which feels like you're going against the grain and it's challenging. It is not an easy transition to make. That's what I'm feeling. We do have the intuition card here with this butterfly, and of course butterflies also speak to, yes, transition and metamorphosis. This is a very, very significant change that you're going through as we are in the the beginning of September, mid-September. Like you may have been in this stage for a while. Some of you are leaving things behind. And also with the stellium card, like I said, it could be an intense concentration in love, but it's also like, for some of you, it may feel like a lot is happening at once. Like a lot is, forgive my language, but shit hitting the fan is a feeling I'm getting. Like there's a lot of different kind of endings, or your love life, for instance, or relationships may feel very connected to other areas in your life. There's just there's a generally high stakes feel that I'm getting from this energy. With intuition here on this card, I do think that you're having to trust that these changes, whatever they look like for you, Pearl One, are needed, are necessary. So some of you may have to make a very difficult choice here. If you're moving away from something and towards something else, which is all, this is what the South Node North journey is about. It's about leaving behind that old baggage. Things that no longer work for us, things that we do out of habit. They're just patterns, unexamined patterns. We want to break out of that. We want new, we want to expand who we can be. We want to expand our soul's knowledge, essentially. And sometimes to do that, we have to let things go. You are being asked to trust yourself here, Paul One, that you know what is serving you, essentially, and what is really in tune with who you are and where you're going. With the North Node, you're going somewhere, and you may feel quite propelled in a particular direction right now, pulled there, magnetized with this kind of quite scorpionic, plutonic energy to move in a particular direction, which could be away from someone, could be towards someone or something, whatever it is. We do have the support card here. And if we look at this person on this card, it's like the way she has her hands in front of her mouth, it's like she wants to speak something, but she's struggling with that. With the stellium also, we have a congregation, and congregation, it can be, to do with people around you. I do think I'm feeling here more that there's some kind of disintegration of a support system, is that you may feel unsupported, that you're relying on your intuition rather than relying on other people and relying on the guidance of others, essentially, which may have been quite habitual for you. That may have been South Node behavior for you that is coming to an end with this Death card. You're learning to rely on your own inner compass and your own inner guidance. But there may be unwanted, what I'm getting with this card is there may also be unwanted, not support, but opinions, let's say, people weighing in when you're trying to tune into your intuition about wherever it is that you're going and however you're moving forward to, and having sort of, let's say, unsolicited advice or things like that are coming through to me. I'm noticing the full moon too. So the full moon in Pisces will be coming up, I think, on the 20th. Don't quote me on that because I'm never good at remembering dates, but that full moon may be quite significant for you in terms of really tuning into your intuition and making some kind of significant forward progress or shift here. We have the High Priestess, having the High Priestess and intuition here, because that's the High Priestess's, that's her domain. The High Priestess she has this deep well of inner knowledge about sort of how things work, She sees beyond the veil, so she doesn't use the typical, more banal and mundane landmarks to move around the world. She sees beyond surfaces. This is something that you're learning to do as you move forward on this North Node journey, like towards where you need to be. If we consider the North Node similar to the North Star, alignment, you're having to learn to trust yourself and to trust the things that you can't explain. All of that, the little naggings, the inklings that you have, the gut feelings that there's no way to verify those things. But if we ignore them, we may find ourselves very stuck or very lost and in a life that doesn't feel like it's our own. And this is what you are learning. Perhaps you've been in that place, pile one. And perhaps other people in the past have sort of supported you in the wrong ways, or molded you perhaps into someone you didn't feel that you were, and you're determined to make a sort of shift here. With the Seven of Swords, this card, and the way this card has been coming up to me a lot lately, because it's often seen as a negative card, and I don't really see any of the cards as purely, negative or positive. Some of them are hard to put in, it might be hard to put a negative spin on the sun or something like that. But in general, right? Some of the cards carry a heavier weight but this Seven of Swords, it often comes through to me lately as a need to go your own way, to save what is yours and truly yours, and protect what is yours, and almost make your escape from difficult circumstances. And I am feeling that, particularly with this, it's under the Death card here. There's a determination here that I'm picking up on knowing what you can salvage from some kind of ending or transition, and being determined to go your own way. We do have the Six of Swords here at the end, so this is all about movement, and it's nice that we have this Six of Swords under the South Node, North Node card, because it suggests that you are really, really making progress towards your destiny, essentially, with the North Node. You're moving away from old patterns, things that were blocking you and holding you back, and you're going to what's meant for you and where you're meant to be. I've jumped ahead a little bit, but let's return for a moment to the Seven of Swords. There's something about breaking away here, or needing to free yourself. It may be, for some of you, it may be there's people around you, whether it's friends or family, just things in your environment that you feel like aren't serving you, and your intuition is perhaps telling you this. Your intuition is pulling you in a new direction. For some of you, it may be a new thing to really tap into your intuition, or learn how to guide yourself by instinct. But that's what you're doing. But there's something about the Seven of Swords getaway which feels like it's, as I was saying in my intro, if you caught it, Scorpio energy, and this is our Venus in Scorpio transit, is very all or nothing. And that's the vibe here. It's almost like sort of surrendering things in order to move towards something that has this promise of growth. It's like, for some of you, I think you've been really stuck for quite a time in a South Node space, or a lack of development, going through the motions a little bit, not tuning into your higher self. Not in alignment with your purpose and destiny and all of those things. The Seven of Swords is telling me that you're willing to break away, and you're willing to do what it takes to find this alignment. This Stellium card is interesting because it shows me so many. There's so much that I can sort of draw from it. I do think a lot of you, there's a sense of, leaving more than one person behind. Some of you may be leaving a relationship, but others, it's like you may be leaving behind people that had been your support system, or perhaps failed to be. Because the Seven of Swords goes it alone, essentially. It's a lone wolf card. It doesn't have to be about deception or thievery or things like that. It can really be about knowing when to serve yourself. it's not selfish necessarily to go it alone, to put your own needs first. And I think that's something that you're learning to do. I think that maybe you have struggled to do this in the past. You've put other people's needs perhaps ahead of your own. We do have the Artist card here. I love the purple here. The purple is really pinging for me on this card, which is all about the crown chakra. So yeah, the High Priestess, of course, her crown chakra is really, like, she's all about the crown chakra. It's all about the third eye, right? Intuition. So this artist is learning to trust. Like, I think some of you have a dream, or you're definitely, this is not just about endings. This is also about beginnings. Something has to end in order for something new to come in here. And you have a dream of what that is with this Artist card. It may be a very creative dream. Maybe you're creating space for that, for you to really pursue a more ideal image of what your life could be. And you are very determined to make this happen. Some of you may be very determined to actually transition and move somewhere. With this Six of Swords can speak of travel and actual physical transition, but there's definitely a psychological shift. You're moving away from one thing, which has been chaotic. It hasn't been easy, and you're going in the other direction. So I am sensing, pile one, like I said with the Death card, it's only difficult if we resist change. I don't think that you are, or at least as we move through this cycle, this transit of Venus and Scorpio, you're not going to be dragging your heels in any way. You're quite determined, I think, to make a certain dream real with this Artist card. Some of you may be artists or very creative, but you're determined to get there, whatever there looks like. And the way this is under this South-North node, it suggests that wherever it is you're going, it is aligned with your life purpose in a deeper way, which is amazing. So let's have a look at this Sustain card. This was kind of in reverse, right? Yeah. Of course, this can speak to, sustainability, what can't be sustained. You're having a look at your life and what is really meant for the long haul, perhaps, and what isn't with Sustain. You're certainly leaving things behind, and it does seem to me like it's more than one thing. And it can also, these things can be environmental, but they're also certain ways of looking at life and moving through life and making decisions and things like that. For sure, you want these changes and you want what you're moving towards to be something solid. There is a big dream here, but you want this dream to be, you're willing to put the effort in to make it real, to make this, I suppose, dream life. Look at these little wings he has on his feet. It's like there's something very dreamy about this. Like you have a real ideal in mind, but you're taking a realistic approach towards achieving it. And like I said, this is destined. This is fated change. I don't think you're resisting it. Perhaps you were in the past, but not anymore. And it's all about what can be sustained, right? What is here for the long haul? What is meant for you too? Yeah, and with this blue, this throat chakra blue, and I was thinking here with the support card that this person really wants to speak on something. Perhaps you have felt for a while as if you were prevented from speaking on something. And this shift, this transit is going to allow you to finally speak your mind, speak your truth, make yourself heard. There's something about just like, breaking a silence, of course, but breaking a certain spell. Whatever this is for you, Pole One, it is a very, very significant transition in your life in general. This September, this October, this is a very meaningful, in the scheme of things, in the course of your life, a very meaningful period. So it's important to sort of stick to your guns here, tune in with yourself, follow your intuition to wherever it is you need to go, and let no one get in your way. I do hope that was a helpful message for you, Pal Ones. If this did resonate, do let me know in the comments below, and do like and subscribe and all the usual stuff that helps build this little channel. But thank you for dropping by today, and I wish you the very best for this Venus in Scorpio season, and I look forward to reading for you next time. Bye guys. Hello, Paul, too, and welcome. You picked the pink Tourmaline here, and this is your Venus in Scorpio reading, all about what's next in love as we enter this new Venus transit on September 10th. So I hope it's not too bright here for you. The sun is very bright today, which gives some nice natural light, but I hope it isn't too glaring. It's difficult for me to see, but hopefully you have a nice, clear sight of the cards, these amazing cards. So yeah, obviously this is a collective read, so please take only what feels like it's meant for you. Otherwise, just leave it behind. It's meant for someone else. So we have the T-square here. We have justice. We have the last quarter. We have symbolism. We have water. The Chariot. We have the Seven of Wands, we have the Knight of Pentacles, we have the Four of Cups, and we have Repel. Okay, all right, so pile 2, let's get into this. We have the T-square. So the T-square in astrology is a configuration where we have two planets that are opposing one another, so on opposite sides of the zodiac, and both of those planets are squaring another. So it's quite a tense sort of configuration of energies that seem like they're not working well together. I do have the sense, sorry, I have to clear my throat. Sorry about that. Perhaps you too have to clear your throat, Pal, too, and speak on something. The T-square is tense. It's tension. You may currently be in kind of a tense environment, Pal, too, or you may have been. There may have been some tension and conflict around you for some time. Yeah, either way, things are at odds. This may, of course, be an inner tension. With the Justice card here and the blueness, the throat chakra blue, like the Justice card on this deck in particular, the Leonora Carrington deck. I named my channel after Leonora Carrington, who created this deck. She was a British surrealist artist and a writer, but this card in particular always strikes me because the Justice character has no mouth, and it's so blue, the throat chakra blue, and it's like not speaking on something. It definitely seems to me, Paul 2, that you feel this need to... Paul 1 also had a need to speak, but it's no way near as intense as yours, Paul 2. It's like there's something that needs to be put to right here, and you feel, perhaps you have been for a long time, going around and round in your head about something, or like rehearsing something you would like to say. It's all about putting things to right. Perhaps you feel very wronged in some way with this T-square conflict energy, people being at odds. It's just tension. So this tension you may have been carrying around for quite a long time, and we are entering a Scorpio transit. So Scorpio energy can be quite internalized, quite brooding, of course, going over and over the same thing. I am picking up that energy here, like of this need to put something right or to speak on something which you feel like you haven't been able to. The last quarter card next to that speaks of finishing touches, right, in a cycle. Something has shifted for you, something has made progress, but it's like you feel, I'm thinking, Paul, too, is that you feel like the word victim is coming through, victimized in some way by this T-square energy, and it's created so much inattention, and you feel like you deserve some kind of justice, yes, some kind of cosmic sort of rearrangement of something, because it's almost like this is due with the last quarter. Yeah, it's like there's something is due to you, and it's about putting things right, putting the world to right. It's about it's about justice. It's about those that are innocent and innocent of wrongdoing, having that being acknowledged. Like, it's about vindication too, and that's coming across strongly to me. Vindication. Perhaps you feel like you've been just unfairly treated. But let's move on here to this symbolism card. Whatever the situation is for you, Paul, too, and it certainly does feel intense, I do think that it has had a huge effect on you, and it has blocked you in more ways than you might realize. For some, this may be a difficult relationship. For others, difficult relationships. It may be relationship patterns that have persisted for a while. The orange is really jumping to me on this card, as is the orange here on the last quarter. It's like the orange is the color of the sacral, which speaks to sexuality, often creativity. It's a very sort of passionate area that has to be activated, I think, to really make things happen. You may have felt quite blocked. It's like there are circumstances, whatever they are, have left you feeling very blocked from pursuing what you want, really being who you are, particularly in the realm of relationships, of feeling like you couldn't act on things. There's a huge amount of blocked energy here with this Justice card, not speaking on some kind of injustice done. It will look different for each of you, but it has created significant blockages because of this thwarted energy, feeling like you couldn't act, couldn't speak. And it's led to a kind of lack of energetic flow, particularly in the sacral area, particularly around the area of sexuality. We do have water here. And yes, of course, Scorpio is a water sign. You yourself may be a water sign, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer. You may have your Venus in one of those signs. You may just generally have a lot of placements in those signs. But water, of course, symbolizes our emotional side, or the emotional realm. There's a lot of emotion invested here. In this situation, it runs very deep. Whatever it is for you, it runs very, very deep. It has very, very deeply affected you, perhaps for a period of time, perhaps for a period of years. I do think that those of you, the last quarter, as I would say, this situation is kind of drawing to a close in one way or another. It has to do with, it feels very complicated with me, but with this orange, it's almost like things have happened which have led you to feel quite restricted in relationships, in feeling like you could pursue what you wanted, or you could draw to you what you wanted, and you could really act on your passion. But you're understanding with the symbolism card, you're understanding the roots of that, which have to do with some kind of conflict, inner conflict, potentially an old wound from the past that hasn't been resolved because it feels like it hasn't been put to right. There was no justice served in whatever it was, and it has led to this blockage. But I think you are understanding, or you will be coming into a greater understanding of sort of the roots of this issue, but also seeing it for what it is, like truly understanding and sort of like almost like joining the dots between things. Cause and effect, like certain circumstances that had this knock-on effect, which you may have felt didn't affect you in a very deep way, but with this water card, there's something here that is just, it runs very deep. And I think for a lot of you, it's not about a single thing or a single situation, a single person or relationship. It's bigger than that. We have the Chariot, which is suggesting to me that the Chariot is about determination, progress, movement, driving your own vehicle, right? Being in the driving seat of your own life. You are quite determined to move away from this T-square energy, to leave that behind with this last quarter. Yeah, this is to draw this to a close. Yeah, you are recognizing the patterns, the old patterns. You're recognizing the root of certain issues that you may have struggled with in regards to relationships, and you're quite determined to put things right, to unblock yourself from whatever has led to a feeling of restriction with this Chariot card. And with the Seven of Wands following that, you're willing to really fight. The Seven of Wands sort of stands up alone against their detractors or anything in their way and defends what's theirs. There is almost a sense of you going into battle here. Look, for some of you, you may have to put something right in a legal way with the Justice card. There's always that possibility. You may be going through a divorce or just a significant separation, and you feel like you have to fight for what is yours. That is a possibility. Either way, it's like there's a kind of this real will and determination with the Chariot card, like combined with the Seven of Wands. It's just like protecting what is yours, getting rid of anything that was in your way or holding you back. Some of you, yes, may need to speak on some kind of injustice that was done to you. But this energy is fierce. Like, this is fierce energy, and it's quite appropriate for Scorpio season. Venus in Scorpio season, where we haven't yet reached Libra season, but Venus is currently quite a few signs ahead of the Sun. Right now, we're still in Virgo season. So yeah, you're fighting the good fight here. And for some of you, this may be a very sort of literal, like a divorce situation. For others, it's much more internal. With the Nine of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles here. Sorry, let me take a look at this. Yeah, the Knight of Pentacles is usually kind of like a very slow, almost like plodding, kind of frustrating energy at times, right? But this Knight of Pentacles is giving me a different sort of feeling. The way that they are facing the Chariot and the Seven of Swords, and they're very armored up as well, this Knight. There's a I'm sorry, Paul, too. I don't know what just happened. It is quite early here. Sorry about that. The Knight of Pentacles, yeah, it's increasing this general feeling of sheer determination and will to create some kind of shift here in a positive direction. This Knight of Pentacles is facing this Chariot Seven of Wands energy and away from the Four of Cups, which is a very lethargic energy. It's kind of the opposite. It's a very, very different energy to the Chariot and the Seven of Wands. Determination. This is very active energy. This is fighting energy. This is the very opposite. The Four of Cups is just sort of zoned out, is not really taking stock of what's going on around them. It can be quite a meditative card, but it's also quite an apathetic card of, I mean, I could get up and fight, but I won't. I think I'm just going to sit here. I do think that this Knight of Pentacles, this armored Knight of Pentacles, is facing away from that energy. I do think some of you may have felt quite stuck in that Four of Cups state for some time, for longer than maybe you realize. It may have become habitual behavior to you to just feel like things were passing you by. I'm getting that too. Like I was picking up on a significant blockage around this area of love, sexuality, all of that, the sacral. And this card is directly under that orange, right? So it may be that you feel like when you've been caught in whatever situation this is, whatever it looks like for you, you've missed out on so much. You've missed out on opportunities. You felt unable to act. You felt as if you were so inwardly focused on whatever conflict you were facing that life just passed by you. And you felt for whatever reason that you couldn't get up and act. And perhaps you just didn't know how to. Or just the way to do so was not clear to you. But there's a shift away from this energy, but there is an acknowledgement of it. You're understanding this. You're just seeing it through a different lens at this point. Repel, with this repel card, and we have this green. Look, for some of you, this is like the heart chakra green, right? Some of you, and this is a missed opportunity card. Some of you may have just felt like for whatever reason you've lost a lot of opportunities in love and you don't want to make the same mistakes again. You feel like because of some kind of something that was holding you back, whether it's an old wound or whether it's another relationship, a tense thing, something, it held you back for so long. And this energy around you actually repelled things that were meant for you, repelled opportunities. Things were missed out on because of whatever this tension and this chaos was, that created limitations and blockages and all of that. I think that as you're checking into this reading, I feel like you're going to know what I'm talking about, and I feel like you're aware of these patterns and quite determined to leave them behind. For those of you that want to speak on something, I definitely think that this transit will give you that strength to do so, and the strength to act if you have been feeling weak or if you've been feeling just unable to get up and remove yourself from things. Like this transit is going to give you a boost of energy, because Pluto energy is Pluto Scorpio. Pluto of course rules Scorpio energy. It's very, very focused, determined, very all or nothing, and I think perhaps sometimes that's what you need, right, to pull yourself out of a rut and create a real shift towards something more positive, which I think is definitely happening for you, Pal, too. So this is overall great energy, because you know what needs to shift here, and you know what needs to be done away with, and you I think most importantly, like, you have insight into past patterns. You understand why certain things happened, or if you're not quite clear on that, I think you definitely will be with this transit as we move into this Venus in Scorpio phase. So I wish you the very best of luck for it, Pal, too. And if this did resonate with you, please do let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and please like, subscribe, and all the usual stuff that helps to grow this this channel. So I look forward to reading for you next time, Pal, too. Thank you. Pal 3, welcome to your reading. You picked the Pyrite here, and this reading is all about what's next in love. This is for Venus's transit of Scorpio from September 10th to October 7th. Of course, this is energy, new energy that is coming in the area of love and relationships. So it's a shift. It's not going to be only for just this is not valid only for that month, that time frame, but it's about bringing forth new energy and setting new things in motion. Of course, this is a collective read, so please only take what feels like it's meant for you, and leave the rest. So we have Pisces, we have the Chariot, we have Void, of course, we have Roots, Wisdom, nice. We have the Ten of Pentacles, we have the Three of Cups, we have the Knight of Cups, we have the Sun, we have Connection. Okay, so Pal 3, let's have a look at this. We're starting with Pisces, and of course some of you could be Pisces. Pisces, of course, is another water sign, which is very, very compatible with Scorpio. They're both signs that like to get to the depths of things, to connect on a very deeper level, very emotionally motivated. So yeah, some of you may be Pisces rising, have Venus in Pisces, or just significant Pisces energy, right? But this Pisces energy, and particularly we have the Knight of Cups, which is a very sort of Piscean card to me, suggests it's just like a very, very deeply romantic energy that is, infusing this particular spread. Pisces energy does tend to be one of the more romantic signs, and Venus in Scorpio is too quite romantic, quite concentrated in their affection and desire. Pisces is a mutable sign, so it is different from Scorpio in that way, a little more scattered, let's say, in their focus. However, Pisces are very capable of there's big romantic dreams with Pisces energy, let's say that, and it can be quite a fantastical, quite dreamy sign. There's big romantic dreams, and I do think that that's something that is coloring your reality right now, Pal 3, as you're watching this. There's a big romantic dream, and there may be a question of whether you can reach that dream, whether that dream is real. Either way, there's a very soft energy about you. However, this Pisces card is followed by the Chariot, which I know the Chariot tends to be associated with Cancer, but I've said this on other times. It's like I don't necessarily buy into these associations. They don't always make sense to me. And Cancer and the Chariot, that never makes sense to me. Perhaps if some of you understand that, maybe you can explain it to me in the comments. But with this Chariot, it's like there's a determination to make dreams real. This Pisces energy is not just hanging loose, waiting for things, daydreaming, not putting the work in. The Chariot is putting the work in. It's getting in the driver's seat. It's determination. It's a fierce, motivation to actually get something done. It's also, the Chariot also to me speaks to self-control. And in that way, you can almost associate it more with Capricorn. Capricorn is really the sign of self-control, really. Wherever Capricorn shows up in the chart, there is self-control. So perhaps you've recognized a tendency to get into this more Piscean, dreamy state about relationships or about things, and you're quite determined not to let that go, I think, but to make sure that if you're directing your romantic energy at someone or something, that you're also going to put in the effort and put the groundwork in, have the discipline to actually sort what's real potential from what isn't. I don't think that you want to lose yourself in fantasies, and of course that isn't all what Pisces energy is about. Pisces is a very, very loving energy and is capable of this very deep, unconditional love. Perhaps you feel in the past, Pole 3, that you've directed that at the wrong people, and this time with the Chariot, you're very determined to direct it to take it in the right direction. But the Chariot knows where they're going. So many of you may have someone in mind. We have Void of Course, which don't be deterred by that, because Void, we're asking what's next in love, and it's like this Chariot is where are they going, because there's a big space here, right? But this is also a very cosmic and dreamy space. There is an element of the unknown here, but the Void of Course, if you don't know, in the lunation cycle, is when it's when the moon is not making a connection to any other planetary body or something like that, but it's also a phase before something. It's almost like a solitary phase before something happens, because something is always happening, something is always transitioning, nothing is stagnant. In life, energetically, in the cosmos, everything is in transition, everything is transiting. So it's almost like there's a period here of isolation for you, Pole 3, before you move towards something. Some of you may have something very clearly in mind, or it may just be that you're working through old habits and determined to move on from old habits so something new can come in your direction, and you are creating space for that with this Void of Course. You're creating space for change and also for your dreams to come true. This is a very dreamy Void of Course card. It's with the stars, and there's just the star here. It's speaking to me of hope. I think there's a lot of hope in this card, and I think if you're not feeling hopeful right now, I think you will be, but it does seem like there's some shifting going on, of some moving away from old patterns. We have roots here, so yeah. I was feeling like some of you had sort of really invested in the wrong people at certain times, or just the wrong things, or the wrong ideas, taken the wrong approach, or this is perhaps how you're interpreting it now, Pole 3. And all this green, yeah, you may have had to uproot yourself from certain situations, patterns, and with this wisdom card under that, you're gaining a lot of, yes, wisdom and knowledge from your past. You're able to look at your past now and see why you made certain choices, what you may have learned from certain people too. If you do feel like you sort of gave a lot of focus to the wrong people, you're sort of in a position now with this Void of Course, this pause, where you're able to look at these things clearly and understand, like, well, I really learned this from this person, and, perhaps I took a wrong turn here, but this was helpful because it showed me something about what kind of turn not to take, right? We have the 10 of Pentacles here under Pisces. Yeah, I do think you have a dream of a certain kind of life you would like to live. A dream of sort of, and this speaks of security and stability. So with Pisces energy, I was saying there's a dreaminess there. We can often sort of get lost in our imagination and our fantasy of something rather than the reality of it. And the 10 of Pentacles is a very concrete card. It speaks to sort of the pinnacle of sort of, happiness. It's the home, it's the family, it's all of that. It's material success and security. But it's concrete when we're speaking of the Pentacles. It's very grounded and rooted, and Pisces energy can struggle with that grounding. I think that's something also that you want to do here, is ground things, is learning how to ground things. So to be discerning about what has potential to develop in this into this Ten of Pentacles energy and what doesn't. Some of you also may have, with roots, some of you may have also just committed to things which you are trying to understand why you made certain commitments or why you made certain choices. And it definitely seems like there's this sort of Piscean dreamy energy, or I don't want to sort of suggest that Pisces energy is only that, because like I said, there's this incredible compassion and unconditional love with Pisces, but it's like perhaps you feel like you invested that love in the in the wrong things, which ultimately didn't bring you stability. And I think that is something that you're looking for. You're looking to make things real. We have the Three of Cups here. I do think that some of you are you're doing a real kind of taking stock of past relationships, like almost doing like a life review in regards of choices that you have made. I think what is coming through to me here with this Three of Cups? I think, what I'm getting is that some of you, and this won't apply to every one of you, but there's sort of perhaps your friends have sort of moved into this Ten of Pentacles phase, or for instance partnered up, having kids and things like that, and you're not quite in that phase. This won't apply to everyone, but it's something that's coming through to me. So it's leading to a little bit of sort of feeling of disconnection, or you're wondering why you're out of alignment with other people, or this is why it's like taking stock of old patterns to recognize how you got to where you are. Because it may seem like people around you are at a different stage of life or have had different kind of successes, and of course comparison is the thief of joy. It's just, of course, and things are not necessarily what they seem. If you're looking at others' relationships and thinking that they're all happy, and maybe some of them are, but it's we don't know what other people are going through. This Three of Cups, but others of you are just sort of you're assessing how you evaluate people and evaluate certain potential relationships. That's coming through to me, because you feel like you've made missteps. You feel like you have struggled to really kind of recognize the reality of people. Like you may have feel like you've sort of projected onto people, or you've just sort of there's just a lot of investment in the wrong things that is coming through to me, or as this is not what I'm telling you, but rather what perhaps you might feel, Pole 3, is that you've just sort of you've taken a lot of what you now perceive to be wrong turns. With this Knight of Cups, this is a very kind of Venus and Pisces energy to me. It's a very romantic, almost poetic approach to life, sometimes not always very realistic and grounded, and I think you are determined to ground this, but you still have that romantic you still have your romantic dreams intact, though, with this Knight of Cups. And some of you very much have somebody in mind. The way that this knight is looking at this woman on the Sun card, and perhaps there is somebody that is sort of standing out from the pack for you. Like perhaps you're looking at the people in your past and what they gave you. You're also looking at people around you, and it's just like, I mean, something else is coming up to me now. It's like, with this Chariot, with the Knight, it's you're moving to. Some of you very much have someone in mind that is just like, is sort of your romantic dream come alive almost with this Sun card. Yes. Oh, this person is perhaps everything that you wanted. There's something very shiny and very standouty about this person. Like they really shine. They really stand out from the pack. No one else compares to this person for you, and perhaps you've tried to forget them, but you can't. We have the connection card here too, so yes, you may feel very, very connected to this person on different levels. Either way, it's like there's this just like this person fulfills a kind of romantic ideal, a dream for you, and no one else compares to them. So You don't have to be male here, whatever gender is fine. This is gender neutral. And of course, this could also be energy around you too. When I'm asking what's next in love, this may be somebody that you're connecting with. But it's almost as if they're turning away from other people or from their past, and in this direction of this person here on the Sun card, it's like wanting to, I mean, this Knight of Cups has a real desire for this person. Yeah, they just can't forget this person. That's what's coming through to me. They are in this pause though. It's like they've hit a kind of impasse, or just like this point where they're like, I don't know how to move forward with this now. But I do think that they are. It's like, yeah, some of you, this is someone that wants to move towards you, and you are the character in the Sun. Yeah, this Sun, this Sun person is sort of also preoccupied. They maybe don't see the night coming because they're doing something else. They're getting a lot of pleasure about what they're doing. There's such a good vibe around this person, and the night is just kind of like transfixed by it. The night really wants this person, really wants to connect with them, is really figuring out a way that they could connect. The purple also on this foxglove, this connection card too, the crown chakra, there's a connection in a more divine sense too, more of a spiritual connection that this person or you may feel towards somebody else, or they may feel towards you, whatever is happening here. Like it feels quite spiritual. It feels like maybe there's a telepathic thing, but it feels very soulful. And there's a recognition there of that. And there's also a need to move away from the past. Some of you may have mutual friends, a network of mutual friends, and also there's friends may have come between you too. That's something that's coming through to me also. But this person, whether it's you or another person, is turning away from any complications. Yeah, interesting. With the Chariot at the head, yeah, it's like there is a lot of dreamy romantic energy, and the Knight of Cups can be a little passive in his romanticism, his or hers, theirs. But this is a very active energy here at the head of the read. But there is a pause happening. It may be that you're taking stock, or someone is taking stock of something before, or waiting for some kind of, with this voice, sorry for knocking that camera, waiting for an opening, an opportunity with this, waiting for some kind of space in which they can make their approach to this Sun character. Yeah, but with the Chariot there is definitely motion and movement and self-control in making dreams and fantasies real. That's what I'm feeling here. So yeah, I do hope, Pile 3, that this resonated with some of you. Do let me know in the comments below if it did, and do like, subscribe, and all the usual stuff. But I look forward to it was a pleasure to read for you, and I look forward to reading for you guys next time. See ya. Hello, Pile 4, and welcome to your reading. You picked the orange calcite. And today we're asking all about what's next in love. This is for Venus and Scorpio. Venus's transit of Scorpio, which will be from September 10th to October 7th. Of course, it's not restricted. This energy is not restricted to that time frame. It's just an ushering in of new energy, right? We want to see what that might look like for you. Of course, this is a collective read, so please take only what feels like it's meant for you and leave the rest. We have Venus, nice. We have the Lovers, very nice. We have Waxing Crescent. We have Thumbelina. Okay, we have Healing, lovely, very lovely. We have the Hanged Man. We have the Five of Wands. We have the Devil. We have the King of Cups. And at the end here we have Adaptation. Okay, so let's get into this. What amazing cards to have at the top of the read here. Venus for a Venus reading. And the Lovers, yeah. Some amazing energy. There's some big feels here with Venus. I do think that this particular Venus and Scorpio transit is going to be quite significant for you, Pile 4s. Yeah, we do have a figure on these, on this Venus card, the amazing blue planet. We have these sort of figures that are half seen. With this blueness, a lot of you do want to speak on something related to love. There may be somebody in your life. Some of you may want to propose to someone that's coming through, or somebody may want to propose to you. Not to, not to lead to big expectations here or anything, but like, it doesn't have to be a proposal, but just sort of like making something happen or bringing something to a different level. But there is these two figures that are sort of slightly disembodied. There may be a disconnection that needs to be put right as we move into this new transit. Like, something has sort of become fragmented, maybe, or it's just come apart. It's been broken, but there's this big Venus energy here. So it's like, for some of you, it's about mending a separation, something that has gone a little bit wrong here. It's like two people are disconnected and separate when they should be together. With this Lovers card too, I do think that's, for some, it's like there's a connection where somebody has gone in another direction and they're wanting to put things right with you. So this may be you, or it may be somebody that wants to correct things with you. But something has sort of almost broken apart. It may have had to do with somebody else too. There may have been I hate to say this, but like a third party thing. There may have been something like that, somebody coming in between you. It may have been more than one person, not that this person was with more than one person, but circumstances, interfering factors that blocked or disturbed this connection or caused it to break or become fragmented. Either way, there is big romantic energy here to put things right and to offer something, to speak on something. Some people want to declare their love. Oh my goodness, it's something that's gone wrong, and there's something's coming back around with the waxing crescent. I mean, this is the waxing crescent. This is all about coming back to, I don't know, but the moths here. This has been a long time coming, and it has required a very deep sense of transformation on the person, the behalf of the person that's doing the speaking and is doing the mending. Has been through a very, very, very deep transformation. They haven't arrived here overnight. This has been, a very, very deep, almost scorpionic, right? This Scorpio, Pluto energy is all about the deep, deep transformations we go through. This person, whether it's you or someone else, may well have had some Pluto transit or something that's changed them at a very, very deep core level and has led to just a major transformation. Thumbelina card here. This is all about kind of miniature stuff, right? Pinkiness, what I'm getting here is nature, is spending time in nature. This person may have reconnected to certain parts of themselves after this person may be learning something about nature. There's something here about noticing also. This person may have felt quite lost for a while. In most cases, I'm feeling that it isn't you, Part 4, but someone you're associated with. They may have felt quite lost for a while and felt as if they weren't seeing things clearly or seeing things as they were. They weren't noticing things that they should have. They were noticing all the wrong things, perhaps. This person in this transformation, though, they're really, really evolving. They're noticing things that had escaped them, things about the beauty of life. And they're really growing, and they also may have be seeking out healing, whatever that looks like for them, whether it's just sort of like getting a regular massage or talk therapy. It could be any number of things. But if this is a question that you have about this person, because it's coming through to me that this person may have had issues with substances, that's coming through to me, something like that, or just patterns, negative behavioral patterns. This person is really, really seeking help for those things. So if that was a question that you had, they're seeking professional help for mistakes that they have made. yeah, they're quite committed to becoming a better person. We have the Hanged Man here. They aren't quite acting yet on what they want to say, or this declaration of love here with the Venus card. With the Hanged Man, they may not quite be ready because they're still having this healing treatment. They may be in treatment. Some of them may be in AA. That's coming through to me. I know that's very specific, but it's just like there's something about they're correcting past mistakes, and they're doing some kind of healing work, which is creating a sort of pause, but they are very focused on that right now. And but they've gained a whole new perspective about the past and also this fragmentation that has happened. They're able to understand why this happened and their part in it. They're seeing this anew. They couldn't see clearly before. And with this Five of Wands, yeah, with the Lovers, things came between you. They allowed certain energies, challenging energies, to interfere. Other partners, other relationships. With the Five of Wands, it's about more than one person. It's a competitive card, but it's like, it's just some tense energy and conflicting energy here. This person has perspective on this now. And with the Devil card here too, it's like, you know, I mentioned addiction, potential substance issues. This won't be in the case of everyone, but I do think for those of you who picked this pile, something was broken or fell apart because of somebody else's perhaps toxic behavior or habits, and that could look different depending for each of you. But this person is very, very much in treatment of some kind. Even if it's just them taking walks out in nature or something like that, they are committed to a shift and a change, and they're committed to healing. And they also have perspective on these things where they didn't before. They are growing. With the Devil card here, yeah. This person feels like they did you wrong, that's for sure. There may have been some, let's say, cheating going on. For some, that won't be for everyone. If that's not you, then I don't want to put that in your head. If that's not something that applies to you, it doesn't have to be cheating. It's just sort of like conflicting, just like their attention turned to the wrong people. This person is just really, really looking at these things, at old habits, whatever it was, and they're acknowledging perhaps the harm done. They're also acknowledging bonds that they had in the past, which were not based on a real love, but more perhaps on just like physical connection. There was no real connection. I'm getting for some of them, they may have been sort of in a relationship with someone, or if there was somebody else that came between you, and they were sort of just, they'd be up at night or something like that, or their head would be somewhere else. They were just very disconnected from this person, and there was an overall just very toxic vibe. There may have been also, if there were substance abuse issues, they may have been shared between them and this person. And often if it's sort of couples that are doing things like that, it's very hard to overcome those problems when they're shared, right? Because you wind each other up, you egg each other on, all those things. Like this is very specific, so please, like I said, exercise discernment with this readings. If this isn't for you, or if it doesn't sound right, it's for somebody else. But there's an overall sense, right, that something broke apart because of somebody else's quite toxic behavior. This person wants to mend this, but they have been, and I think for some time, been putting into real effort into healing why they perhaps had these issues. But not just that, they are very, very deeply looking at their own behavior and all the things that came between you. And for some of you, it may have been another person. But this person, the other person, yeah, they're seeing, it's almost like they got stuck in a loop with somebody else. And it had to do with whether it was just toxic habits that were shared with them and this person that clouded their clarity. Like it misted over their sense of what it was real. It just clouded their intuition. But there was a distress or an unhappiness and a disconnection. It felt empty to them. It never felt nourishing. but it was like a loop that they couldn't get out of. That's what's coming through to me. But they're seeing it now for what it was. It's quite, yeah. Oh, it's difficult energy, yeah. But there may have been a lot of interfering factors here. But this person acknowledges that they sort of let that happen. But they are evolving in a very deep way, because we have the King of Cups here. And this is a very emotionally mature king. And this is where this person is getting to. I mean, if this person has been in this hanged man energy for a while, I haven't been I feel like I'm not speaking clearly today. It's quite early, earlier than I usually do these readings. But if they've been in this hanged man energy for a while, know that they're not just twiddling their thumbs and daydreaming. They are actively trying to heal the things that led them to behave in certain ways that broke your connection. And they are doing some deep examination and reflection on the past, so as to not make the same mistakes. But they are really coming into their own. They're very in touch with their emotions. And they're just growing. They're just growing and maturing. We have adaptation here. Yeah, this redness. They want to make this real, whatever it is between you. And what I am sensing is this person almost is basically, you may not agree with this, Pile 4, but this person takes full responsibility. Perhaps you feel like there's also things that you did that broke this connection, but this person as it stands is seeing this as entirely their error. They messed up here in a big way, it looks like. So this adaptation card is sort of telling me that they do want to speak on their feelings for you. They do want to mend this, but they also know that will require them adapting to you rather than the other way around. If there's sacrifice and compromise that has to happen, it's going to be on their side, but they're willing to do that. They're willing to adapt. They're willing to grow and be what you need. So I know that this was a difficult reading because there was some difficult things that came up here, and they won't be for everyone, or if you're resonating to this, the particulars will be different. Whatever those toxic devil-like things are, they will be different. So if you don't know for sure what it is, then don't, based on this reading, assume that substance abuse or things like that. It's just with the devil, this can be, it can definitely, addiction and things like that can be things that, you know, addiction can affect us all in different ways, right? It doesn't have to be that we're in AA. It doesn't have to be that we're taking whatever kind of drug, but it's compulsive behaviors that we let rule our life and in some way destroy our life, you know, for periods of time. And that seems what has happened here. It's like compulsive, unexamined behavior has led to some conflict and breakdown of something that was actually very meaningful, but this person is recognizing that and is growing. So yeah, exercise discernment, take what only feels like it's meant for you and leave the rest. But what's just so coming through to me is this person acknowledging their own behavior. So I think that may be important for you to know, Pile 4, if this does feel like your story. But yeah, if it is, please do let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. But take care. Take care throughout this Venus and Scorpio season, and I look forward to reading for you next time. Bye guys.